Hello guys, a very good afternoon to all. Myself, I'm Swapna Kumari Mahanti, Mathematics faculty from EDUHUNT, IIT, NEET and Medical Academy classes. So, how are you guys? I hope you are really doing well. Right. So, in the last class, I have told you the definitions of sine theta and cosine theta, how they are being changed and renamed in the circle. Correct. So sine theta definition I have given you in the form of opposite upon hypotenuse, opposite upon hypotenuse, opposite upon hypotenuse as projection on y axis to radius. Correct. So sine theta I have given you like sine theta I have given you opposite upon hypotenuse, it been changed like projection on y-axis upon radius. Correct. And similarly cosine theta, which is shortcutly read as adjacent upon hypotenuse, and that was renamed as projection on x-axis to radius. Projection on x-axis to radius. Correct. So next what I am doing is what are the signs of trigonometric ratios in the possible cases. For example, if you take in the first part, just a minute, right. So if I take the first quarter part, how sine theta is defined? This is my perpendicular side, projection on y-axis, and this is my hypotenuse, and this is my base side. Correct? This is my base side. So projection on y-axis. Y-axis is positive or negative in the first quadrant? Tell me. For every part is called as quadrants. Correct? Everybody, I guess everybody knew about that. Each part is read as quadrant. So we have 4 quadrants. So in the first quadrant, what is the value of sine? What is the value of projection on y-axis? Y will be positive. In the first quadrant, y will be positive. Correct. Similarly, what is radius? Radius is the distance that will always take positive sign. Correct. So which is positive upon positive. You have positive upon positive, the resultant will also be positive. Correct. So if I talk about sine is positive in the first quadrant. So let's get back to cosine. What happens to cosine in the first quadrant? So let us check. Adjacent side. Adjacent side is nothing but projection on x-axis. So can I draw a projection on x-axis like this? So if I take a projection on x-axis is positive in the first quadrant, right? You have positive side of x. Ante kada, identidi, this center, the positive side is the negative side of x-axis. So this is taking a positive side, correct? So which is taking a positive side, positive upon positive. Again we have adjacent side, projection on x-axis is also positive in the first quadrant, and radius as usual positive. So positive upon positive is again positive. Correct. Positive upon positive is again positive, right? So what I mean to say is sine and cos thetas both are positive in the first quadrant. Sine and cos theta both are positive in the first quadrant, right? Next, what I mean to say, what is the third trigonometric ratio? Tan. So tan will also take how I have defined tan theta, sine upon cos. Correct? I have defined tan theta as sine upon cos. So how I have read sine is positive, cos kuda positive, positive upon positive, malli positive. అవునా కాదా? సో సైన్ థీటా ఫస్ట్ పాజిటివ్ ఎందుకు అయింది? ప్రొజెక్షన్ ఆన్ వై యాక్సిస్, వై టేక్స్ పాజిటివ్ వాల్యూ, రేడియస్ ఈజ్ పాజిటివ్, ఎక్స్ టేక్స్ పాజిటివ్ వాల్యూ, అవునా కాదా? సో బోత్ ఆర్ పాజిటివ్స్ ఇన్ ద ఫస్ట్ క్వాడ్రంట్. సో ఆల్ 6 trigonometric ratios are positive in the first quadrant. So let us compare it with the second quadrant in order to make much more clear for you guys, right? So let's talk about the sign of second quadrant here. So what is the next one we are discussing about? Second quadrant. So second quadrant lo ide part of x-axis negative. Avuna? Negative. And if I draw a perpendicular line, y is being positive. This is positive and this is negative. So if I talk about sine theta is nothing but projection on y-axis in the second quadrant. Let me take in the second quadrant. Sine projection on y is positive, x is negative, and radius is as usual positive. So what we have? Positive upon positive is positive. So sine is positive in this case. Sine is positive in this case. Here all trigonometric ratios are positive. Right? So sine is positive in this case. So next talk about cosine. Let's see about cosine. What happens in the second quadrant? So I told you x is negative in the second quadrant, correct? X is negative in the second quadrant. So what we will get then? If x is negative in the second quadrant, what we have? Projection on x-axis. This is being negative and radius is positive. Negative upon positive is negative again. Correct? So cosine means cos theta is being negative in the second quadrant. Correct? So sine is positive, cosine is negative. Sine is positive, cosine is negative. Correct? So what happens to the tan? Tan is defined as sine upon cos. Correct? Sine upon cos. I told you tan is defined as sine upon cos. Tan is defined as sine upon cos. Sine is positive and the cos is negative. Positive upon negative is again negative. So what we will take this value as? Negative. Right? So what we have? Cosine is negative. Right? Tan is also negative except sine. So and the reciprocal function of sine is cosec. Excellent. So cosecant theta, sine theta only takes a positive values in the second quadrant. Understood? Right. Similarly, if I talk about the third part, here the x-axis is negative. In the third quadrant we have x-axis is negative, x is negative. Similarly, y is also negative, correct? Both are negatives in this case. Both are negatives in this case. So, as per the definition of sine and cos, both will take a negative place, correct? But if I talk about tan theta in the third quadrant, tan theta is defined as sine upon cos. Sine is negative, cos is negative, negative upon negative, we will have a positive value. Negative will get cancelled, will get a positive value. And the reciprocal function of tan is cot. And the reciprocal function of tan is cot. So tan and cot are taking a positive values in the third quadrant. Similarly, if I talk about the fourth part, we will have here x is positive. We will have, just a minute. See, here we will have, here in the fourth quadrant, here x is positive. What is x? X is positive, right? Similarly, y is negative. Y is negative, right? So if I take these both, so what are the two things here we are getting? Positive and negative. X is positive value, y is negative value, right? So what are the things which is getting positive? Sine is getting projection on y-axis will get a sine value will become negative, and for radius is positive, negative upon positive is again negative. But if I talk about cos theta, what is the definition of cos theta? Projection on x-axis to radius. X is positive here, positive upon radius, positive by positive is positive. So in the fourth quadrant we have cos and secant are positive in the fourth quadrant. We have cos and secant are positive in the fourth quadrant. So let me tell you in the short note about the signs of trigonometric ratios. What I have told you about the signs of trigonometric ratios. Fine. So just a minute, I will tell you in the shortcut form. See, if I take a circle, okay, in the circle we will form 4 quadrants. This is first, second, third, fourth, right? So here x is positive, y is also positive, x is positive, y is positive. So here, so that all trigonometric ratios takes a positive sign. In the first quadrant we have all trigonometric ratios are positive. Next one, if I take the second quadrant, here in this place x is negative, y is positive. X is negative, y is positive, right? In the second quadrant we have sine and cosec. What are the two different one? Sine and cosec will take positive values in the second quadrant, right? And the next one, what will be the next one? The next one is third quadrant. In the third quadrant, x is negative, y is also negative. So sine and cos takes negative values, but tan theta taking a positive value. Tan theta is taking a positive value, and the reciprocal function of tan is cot, and the reciprocal function of tan is cot. Cot is also taking a positive value. In the fourth quadrant, x is positive, y is negative, right? So by the definition of sine and cos theta is nothing but projection on y-axis, so projection on x-axis. So cos theta is positive, and the reciprocal function of cos is secant theta. Secant theta is also positive. So I have given a glimpse of the signs of 6 trigonometric ratios in the circle. In order to remember the shortcut form, right, all means A. Yes, sine and cosec are positive. So what is the first letter of sine? S. Right, and here tan, correct? What is the first letter of tan? T. And here cos, what is the first letter of cos? C. So we have all silver tea cups. So what is the easy way to remember? I can tell you like all silver tea cups. All silver tea cups. This is all trigonometric ratios are positive in the first quadrant. Silver, S means sine and cosec are only positive in the second quadrant. Tan, T means tan. Tan and cot theta are only positive in the third quadrant, and we are left over with the fourth one, cups. The first letter is C. Cos theta and secant theta are only positive values takes place in the fourth quadrant. This was about the concept of signs of 6 trigonometric ratios. Understood, guys? In the next class we will come with problems based on trigonometric worksheet. Meanwhile, you also try have a look into your workshop. If it is not clear, we'll discuss more problems in our next class. Stay tuned. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.